Welcome to Take Stock Live, investor webinar series, which goes live every Wednesday at 15 minutes after market close. The current season 3 will run at least through the end of March with a strong emphasis on mining. Next week, we will have 3 companies, courtesy of Sterling Merchant Capital. We also thank the TMX Group and the TSX Venture Exchange, our event partner, for helping us keep the conversation between companies and investors going in these very unusual times. We also recognize the vital support provided by our core sponsors, Fasken, MNP, Lead Jones Gable, and Olympia Trust Company. We also thank our supporters, who include InvestmentPitch Media and The Newswire, as well as broader support that we get from Calgary Meg and CIM, the Sterling Merchant Capital, and others. So some housekeeping matters to you attendees. You may note a red Reconnect tab at the top of your screen. If you lose audio, just click it and you will be reconnected. The chat board may be utilized in this session. Please be clear as to whom your question is being addressed. And note our disclaimer. These presentations are for information only and are not a solicitation to buy or sell stock. Companies pay fees to present at Take Stock, and Take Stock, its principal Raj Joshi, and yours truly may have equity investments in companies which present, may consult to the companies, and make no representation or investment or other recommendations in regards to these presenting or any other companies. In particular today, I would note that I am a shareholder and warrant holder of MustGrow Biologics, and I formerly had an IR contract, or was party to an IR contract with Waterways Technologies. You should do due diligence. Go to SEDAR, connect with the companies directly in order to get detailed information, and seek professional investment advice. Contact details for today's presenters can already be found in the chat board, and they will be posted at the end of today's show, as well as on our website, takestocklive.com. Today we have 3 agritech companies. Corey Giasson, CEO of MustGrow Biologics, MGRO on CSE. Ronnie Jaegermann, Director, Waterways Technologies, WWT on the TSXV. And Graeme Lempriere, CEO, Clean Seed Capital, CSX on the TSXV. So let's begin with Graeme Lempriere, founder and CEO of Clean Seed Capital Group. Graeme is a corporate and financial entrepreneur with years of senior management experience in both the public and private sector. He is the founder and CEO of Marvell Corporate Development Group, a private business development and venture management company that invests capital and management expertise into innovative early and mid-stage companies. Prior to founding Marvell, Graeme was responsible for leading major business initiatives that included company restructuring, marketing, primary financings, and market development for both public and private mid-tier companies with market evaluations north of 500 million.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us today. I wanted to come on today because I got a lot of good shareholders from this when we had live events before our world changed. So I wanted to update our shareholders and potential new shareholders. Clean Seed Capital, we're in the agricultural technology business. The disclaimer that I won't read, but I think they're all pretty much the same. We're addressing a $19 billion global market in precision agriculture. We have developed an entire suite of technologies to address the growing movement in digital agriculture. The most important time for farming is when you're putting the seed in the ground. So we have developed the world's first, most advanced seeding and planting technology. It's the world's first multiple product variable rate over the opener seeding technology. It's patented worldwide, and it's a game changer. Why is this a game changer? Ag tech, as you probably heard today or a few days ago, that Farmers Edge went public, for example. They're a digital provider. They provide all of the digital information to make recommendations for farmers to what they should put in the ground. Our machine is the most advanced, sophisticated machine that can actually execute on that mandate at the highest resolution possible. This is an overlay map to give you an example of what a map looks like integrated onto our machine, and the machine executes on that task. Why did we do this? Air seeders have been in the business for 30 years. It's a technology of the past. It cannot micromanage to the ability to leverage the existing data that's available. It's just an old technology. We've changed that, disrupted that, started this 7-8 years ago to develop the brand new technology that will leverage all of these assets, as mentioned. We own all of our own software technology, the software that takes that data and information, translates that into actionable in-the-ground data. So in short, to explain again, there's outside companies like Farmers Edge that provide all the data. We're the machine that actually executes on that data, which creates the result for the farm. Here's a quick example. To the left is a typical air seeder. To the right is the Smart Seeder Max. Vast difference in yield. We've averaged $100 an acre increase for the farmer. Not only do we do that, we're in the regenerative agricultural cycle, and we started that a long time ago by addressing how do we address carbon sequestration. These 3 slides that you can download later and have a look at discuss the benefits of our opener, the way we approach the ground, the way we don't till the soil, the way we keep the soil structure stable. When you stabilize the soil, you micromanage the inputs, you create the full circle for carbon sequestration and environmental impacts in agriculture. Our technologies are patented around the world. Everywhere you see in green is patented. We've been at this some time. We've spent millions of dollars to make sure those patents are secure. We did a recent license agreement in the US for $2.5 million and a 5% royalty to demonstrate the security of our IP. The government has given us a 15% tax break. We're moving to Saskatoon in the next few months, building a brand new building for assembly and distribution of this technology. Our strategy moving forward is over the next 5 years, we'll launch in North America first. $117 million in revenues is expected over that period of time, but we're aggressively also looking at M&A activity to buy market share with antiquated situations that we can apply our technology to and create more market share. We'll also, within that 5-year cycle, be going down into the States. Did I just get lost there? I think I got cut right off.
No, we can hear you, Graeme.
Okay, so I've lost the actual screen. I do apologize.
Do you want I'll move your slides for you.
Okay, I can't see them, but I'll just carry on with the discussion. You can just end it when it's ended. At the end of the day, we've spent 8 years developing this technology. We built 6 machines, $20 million worth of investment. We traveled all across Western Canada to prove out the tech. We had some challenges on the frame and the weight and the width. That's now been addressed with a new joint venture partner we have in the United States, who's provided the iron component. So we now have a 180,000 square foot factory to manufacture this technology. That manufacturer is a tier 1. It manufactures for Deere, Case, other majors, fantastic partner. So Clean Seed no longer has the outlay for cash capital requirement for the factory. We just are going to assemble the final electronic pieces in our operations in Saskatoon. Our board of directors is incredibly strong. 2 members of that board of directors are former founders of Ag Growth International. Ag Growth is a classic Canadian success story in agriculture. Went from a $3 million revenue business to a $1 billion market cap company listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Various other members of our board that you'll be able to look at through the slides. Sorry, I can't see them. But at the end of the day, our timing is good. It's a classic 10-year overnight success story where we've done the legwork, we've spent the money, we're in position to distribute. The timing is right for agriculture. The digital service providers are hot right now, and we're the only machine that can actually execute in high resolution in the ground to create the ground truthing aspect of what this business does. We've started a new marketing initiative. We've brought on 2 senior executives for sales, distribution, and also for operations. We break ground in about 6 weeks on our new building. And And that's about it, really. I'm glad to be able to share a bit of a brief update without the slides. I do apologize. I should have turned off some things that I was advised to do. But I think I'm open to any questions. Really, at the end of the day, we have to feed the world. We're environmentally conscious about how we feed the world. And we've developed a new machine that addresses the environmental impacts, the sophistication of leveraging these data assets into the ground to improve yields. And we're in the right place at the right time and finally in a position where we're actually going to market this year, opening the sales book, and we expect to sell 10 machines this season. The average price of a fully loaded machine is $750,000. These are competitive prices compared to the existing antiquated technology, which will be a nice entry for us. So we're looking forward to 2021.
Very good, Graeme. And I finished with your capital structure.
Okay, thank you.
So Ronnie is Director of Waterways Technologies. He helped it get public in Canada on the TSXV, founding and the venture partner at Exit Team Capital Partners, an Israeli investment platform focusing on pre-IPO investments. He has led multiple businesses, advancing them from startup to profitability, becoming takeout targets. Ronnie has also been involved in raising capital for a number of Israeli technology companies, raising capital for them in Europe, the US, and Canada in both public and private markets. Most recently, including Adcore, ADCO, now on the TSX Big Board, and Inocan Pharma, INNO, on the CSE. Ronnie holds a BA in Economics and Political Science from Tel Aviv University. Ronnie, it's yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mark, for hosting me tonight. It's very late tonight here in Israel. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I got involved with waterways technologies a few years ago, and our mission statement is bring Israeli agri-tech at its best to the world. We seek to become a really global leader in the irrigation field. Israel has excelled in irrigation for many years. We invented drip irrigation technology, and the world is getting more arid and needs more sophisticated irrigation system, and that's where waterways technologies comes in to bring more sophisticated irrigation technologies to farmers worldwide. We have been in business since 2006 and have put numerous irrigation projects around the world where the target is really to combine technology and irrigation and provide farmers with the best way to irrigate their crops. We currently serve more than 400 customers in 40 countries around the world. If we look a little bit at the history of the company, Ohad Haber, the CEO, founded the company in 2003. It grew very nicely during the years. In March 2019, we took it public on the Toronto Stock Exchange on the venture. We raised a total of $5 million in 2 rounds, listing the company in March. In June, and we set out a strategic plan to grow the business every year. The first thing we did, we set up a sales subsidiary. We bought the assets of a Canadian irrigation distributor called Hartnett Grove, south of London, Ontario. We integrated the team into the Waterways holding company, and we have established a subsidiary selling irrigation and agricultural supplies to Canadian and American farmers. In February of 2020, we did the same in China. We took our distributor in China, formed a subsidiary, and had it not been for COVID and what had happened in 2020, we probably would have seen very substantial sales in China, which we'll see probably this year. We had a very, very strong start this year. We won a number of projects around the world, of irrigation projects around the world, and we were lucky enough 2 weeks ago to announce that we won the largest irrigation project in the company's history with a value of over $4 million in the country of Uzbekistan. We're farming their vegetables after we had success in providing irrigation technology to cotton growing in Uzbekistan. So it's $4 million, which is roughly a third of our annual revenue. We are a Canadian public company. However, our center of business is in Israel. And we have long-lasting relationship both with Israeli research institutes, with academics, and with the biggest suppliers in the business and agri-tech startups and others. If we look at the market, the value of the U.S. drip irrigation market is about $1.2 billion. The whole value of the drip irrigation market in the world is about $4 billion. Everywhere in the world, this market is growing. Even in Canada, the irrigation market is forecast to grow about 9% a year between the years 20 to 27. We've had arid years all around the world. I was in Calgary in the summer. You can see how much is irrigated. Same in Ontario. So the water is getting scarce, and the demand for very smart irrigation is growing worldwide. Where do we want to position ourselves in the growing area of irrigation? We are looking to target smart irrigation projects with sophisticated crops such as blueberries and cannabis. We were very fortunate to win a few irrigation projects in the cannabis sector. The first and largest was the very sophisticated medical cannabis business, growing business, which was done by Kronos in Israel, and we were the prime contractor for the whole irrigation system. Since then, we've done 3 more projects, and now we're looking to go to countries like Colombia and other parts of the world to utilize the experience we got in irrigating cannabis. And the other part of sophisticated crops, I'll give you an example. Blueberries is becoming a very hot top. Avocado is becoming a very hot topic around the world. You need to irrigate those crops, and we know really how to do it. I talked a little bit about the project in Israel and Kronos. This was the first one of its kind in Israel. Kronos came to learn how cannabis was grown in Israel. On the other hand, they bought their experience and what they did in Canada. And we were fortunate to bring a complete IoT system, fully controlled for the whole irrigation project and the fertilization project in an indoor facility. You can actually see the pictures here. Another very sophisticated project we did was in China, in growing apples, and the solution was not only irrigation, but also bringing the agronomical support we had from Israel. And the last one I can show you here, which was done actually 2 years ago, was growing passion fruits in Ethiopia. So you can see the variety of projects we have around the world, and that's some of the experience we've gained through our engineers and our personnel. And now, actually, one of our biggest growth factors is coming to Canada. We were fortunate enough to form the subsidiary I told you before.
Ronnie, I'm afraid we are at time.
At time, okay.
No, yeah, I gave you a little extra. So
thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Okay.
And next up, we will have Corey Giasson. And I have to say that I should have made money on Corey the first time when I first met him, when he was running Anglo Potash. And let me just get to, so Corey is an entrepreneur who is focused on opportunities in his home province of Saskatchewan for the last 20 years. He is co-founder and director of Legacy Capital Corp, a private equity company focused on participating in management buyouts of strong, sustainable, cash-flowing businesses. In 2009, Corey co-founded and led a Saskatchewan-based heavy oil company, Rallymont Energy, which successfully explored for and delineated the Prince Thermal Heavy Oil Project and sold to Husky Energy in December 2013. Corey was an independent consultant prior to that to public companies, including Japan Western Energy, Infrastructure Materials Corp, and the one in which I first met Corey, or via in Winnipeg, I believe, Anglo Potash. Previously Anglo Minerals Limited, of which Corey was VP, and was ultimately purchased by its JV partner BHP Billiton in July 2008 for $284 million. Corey has an MBA and BSc in agriculture economics from both from the University of Saskatchewan. Corey, take us home.
Thanks, Mark, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today to present MustGrow once again to take stock, and we'll get started. I'll draw your attention to our disclaimer. It's your typical forward-looking statement disclaimer that can be read in detail on our website at mustgrow.ca. About MustGrow Biologics Corp. We're an ag biotech company with a natural organic technology platform that is highly efficacious in controlling microbial diseases, insects, pests, and weeds. The technology is derived from the mustard plant. We extract the compounds from the mustard seed. It's based on food grade mustard, and we've extracted those compounds that the mustard plant uses to fight off diseases and pests that are found in the soil. It's sustainable, and this new technology that we have, the liquid formulation, is based on a mustard extract. So it's way more efficient than the original technology that we had, which was a mustard meal. We've found that this technology, and other researchers have found with AITC, the active ingredient that's found within the mustard plant, is very positive for soil health and also the environment. In fact, it's got a very short half-life, about 24 hours, where it does its work and then dissipates from the soil. It's got a very low water solubility, so it won't be found in runoff into streams and river systems. And this is relative to other chemicals that are currently being used today. We own 100% of our patented technology and completed over 110 independent studies. It's a platform technology that is a biofumigant, biopesticide, and bioherbicide, and it has multiple applications, which we look to get approved globally. This is all with a very tight capital structure, 42 million shares outstanding, of which 20% is management and advisor owned. And we're fortunate enough to be sitting on $3.9 million of cash on hand, enough cash for the next 3 years and for us to do work to advance our pipeline further. The drivers for our technology. Again, it's agriculture. We're looking to help feed the world. And regulators right now, they're significantly restricting or banning existing synthetic chemistries. You're seeing news stories about that all over the world. Consumers are demanding a natural, healthy, safe food products. The organic section of the grocery store continues to expand. We're seeing ag chem companies are actively seeking out natural and sustainable technologies that replace the synthetic chemicals that are being banned, or at the very least complement the existing ones so that they could have a lower load per acre of use of the existing chemistries. And producers, I mean, they want to grow a crop, and then that's the most important thing for them. And if they are using natural products, these products need to be effective, just like the chemicals that are being replaced. And many of today, of the biologics, they have not met performance expectations. But we see with our technology, it is natural, it is organic, based on food grade mustard, but it has the efficacy of synthetic chemicals, which is significant. On the biofumigant side, we're looking to treat the soil for food, for crops such as fruit and vegetables, turf and ornamental, even potentially now in canola and bananas. We're also have extracted a compound from the mustard seed recently called thiocyanate, and it has non-selective herbicide properties. It has a mode of action that is systemic, And compared to glyphosate, it works a little differently. Glyphosate, it kills whatever it touches that is green, essentially. So any of the weeds that are covered in dirt, or maybe they haven't popped through the soil yet, glyphosate won't kill. Our technology works in the soil and potentially could kill the weeds that have not popped through yet from the root up, and also potentially kill the weed seeds that have not yet germinated. Biopesticide is what we're looking to do here is on the storage side, food preservation, and to help for food storage such as potatoes, etc. So here's a little bit more detail on this pipeline. Again, on gray here, you see the fumigant for treating the soil for crops before they're planted. Green is the biopesticide, and the blue at the bottom would be the storage side. Fruit and vegetables, this is where we've done our most work. We're now working on getting an EPA registration for Terra MG for fruit and vegetables in the US. We currently have an existing EPA registration for our granular product. Terra MG is our new liquid formulation. Again, this here we're currently working with EPA, and it has slowed up over the last year. It is delayed, but that being said, I still foresee within the next year we potentially could have this EPA registration in hand, which would be significant. 3 other crops that we've looked at for treating the soil for hard to kill diseases, and those diseases would be clubroot in canola, fusarium in wilt TR4 in bananas, and Aphanomyces for pulse crops. Those are 3 diseases. There is no chemical solution here right now for them. We've seen 100% control of these diseases in lab, and in terms of canola and clubroot in greenhouse. We're now looking to take these particular crops into field and treat the diseases in field this coming spring to see what the application rate would be for Terra MG and the AITC for those diseases in field. And again, that'll be occurring this spring. On the non-selective herbicide, we just produced some thiocyanate, and we're now testing it in lab here right now. We're looking to get this product once we have results back from in field. We're looking to have it done right now we're in greenhouse. Once we have results back on that, we'll be taking it to the field this coming spring as well. On the storage side, we haven't done a tremendous amount of work there, but we were fortunate enough to in-license a patent from the University of Idaho to utilize AITC as a sprout inhibitor. And this is significant because the current product that's being used, the acronym is CIPC, which has now been banned in Europe. There is no solution that has been brought forth yet. So this is a natural organic AITC product that, according to this patent, is very effective at fumigating and treating stored potatoes in warehouses. It's about a $60 million market in the US that has disappeared because the CIPC has been pulled. And we're looking forward to testing this product here, our technology very quickly. On sprouting potatoes, not only for sprouting control, but also for disease. And this is all with a very tight capital structure. As I mentioned, 42 million shares outstanding, 50 million shares fully diluted. And we're fortunate enough to have $3.9 million of cash on hand, which is enough capital for us to move that pipeline forward and get our EPA registration completed with on the fruit and vegetable side as a biofumigant of Terra MG. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Corey. So stay with us, and let's bring Ronnie and Graeme back for what we call the Inquisition. So thank you very much for joining us. The first question is to have you be more explicit on your objectives in 2021. And let's have you answer the question, Corey, then Ronnie, then Graeme.
Well, our objective here in 2021 is to continue to push that technology platform, our product pipeline forward. We've done a lot of work on the fumigant side. We're now going to be doing more and more work on the non-selective herbicide side, and then also on the storage side, the food preservation and storage. So our goal is to move these products forward. In a lot of there's going to be a lot of field work done here in 2021, so it's going to be a very exciting time.
Mark, we have targeted a growth path in North America. As I said before, we had a very successful acquisition in Eastern Canada, and we're looking to grow in the West. doing the same thing as we did in Eastern Canada, finding a distributor, acquiring it, and getting a strong presence in Western Canada. That's one growth and target for 2021. And the other one is really growing and starting to grow in the United States as well.
Clean Seed for 2021 will be demonstrating its new technology across Western Canada, leveraging its new sales program that's in place to start taking orders for the Smart Seeder Max and the Max S for the 2022 seeding season. So it's a very aggressive demonstration and sales initiative for Clean Seed. At the same time, in 2021, we'll be opening our new facility in Saskatoon. And I would suspect you'll see some interesting M&A activity during that year as well.
And along these lines, do you currently have the capital in place to achieve those objectives? And in the case of Corey, who will have go third, Corey, perhaps you can outline what your budget is, because we know you have cash on your balance sheet. So let's go with Graeme, and then Ronnie, and then Corey.
We have enough capital to execute on our 2021 plan by, we had warrants that were held in place with favorable shareholders. That'll put together about $4 million worth of additional capital for Clean Seed. When we enter the sales cycle, we will have factor financing in place for production, which won't lean on the equity portion. So we're well capitalized for the rollout program for Clean Seed for 2021.
We have just finished exercising our warrants. Actually, the due date was about a week ago, and 95% of the warrants were exercised. So we have right now enough cash in the bank. Saying that, we never had a problem with getting credit facilities from Israeli banks. Now I suspect also that once we have a full year in Canada, we'll be able to get some credit from Canadian banks. We're looking at the Development Bank of Canada for line of credit.
EDC.
Yeah, the EDC. So yeah, we're in a good position for 2021. I don't see any financing problems at this stage.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're well capitalized here to do the things that we need to do. And for our product pipeline, I mean, to get EPA registration, that's all been budgeted. To get to field trials done on canola and pulses here in Saskatoon, that's already been accounted for. The field trials in Colombia are the same. And in terms of doing more and more work on the non-selective herbicide and the lab tests, greenhouse studies on the food storage side, that's all been accounted for as well.
Very good. Now I want to turn a little bit more to the business expansion. You've each talked about targets for growth or expansion of applicability. Is there another aspect that you'd like to talk to us about? For instance, in the case of waterways, are there some other projects that are perhaps in the pipeline that could be very interesting? So let's go with Ronnie, and then Graeme and Corey.
Well, we're looking, as I said in the presentation, on the project arena, we're looking to grow through sophisticated crops such as cannabis, blueberries, sophisticated vegetables, and so on and so forth. We're looking to push our business in China. We have put a subsidiary in there. We have very good personnel there, and I hope we see a lot of revenue in 2021 coming from China. So these are really the growth area. And we're looking also to grow through technology, probably acquiring an agri startup in Israel. We have lots of them around, which will complement our marketing and sales ability.
My turn. Outside of the North American rollout plan, we will be leveraging into Australia in 2021. It's a good market for us. We have boots on the ground there. And we'll be sending over a demonstration rig to start looking at that side of the market. And we're getting asked a lot about Europe and other opportunities for licensing. So we'll evaluate these as they come in. But our main focus 21 is North America and touch on Australia.
Yeah, so for MustGrow, maybe I'll add a little bit on the production side. Once we do have a registered product, we have identified a toll manufacturer that can produce product for us initially. And we're also doing some engineering work right now to identify the operating costs and the capital costs for a plant that potentially could be developed after we get into production and after we get initial sales done. So it's kind of exciting that there's a good chance that the company won't have to be raising capital to get into production down the road.
Okay, now a couple of questions for Corey in particular. Corey, selling agri inputs can be tough when you have sort of one group of products instead of a whole breadth of them. How do you intend to meet this challenge of getting your product out there in inventory in the agri centers, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're an ag tech company, so we've got the platform, the technology platform, and I will say that our initial technology, which is registered with the EPA, we had sales back in 2013-ish, about over a 1 year period. We used a distribution company to do that, so an ag chem company that specializes in distribution. We potentially could do that down the road, or we could partner with large ag chems to help get market penetration in some of these areas. So there's a lot of different ways for us to get product into the market. I think the key is that we own the technology and the technology platform, and as a shareholder, I want to see as much market penetration in all these markets as quickly as possible. So.
Right, and it's opened the door a little bit, and to my next question, which relates to large ag chem, as someone who's followed your company, it seems as if your strategy, rather than to pick one vertical and develop sales aggressively and get to profitability, has been to demonstrate efficacy of the platform as a whole across a broad number of applications, which sort of lends the question of, what is your corporate intent? Are you building this to become internally profitable, or are you building this with hopes of acquiring a suitor acquiring you?
Yeah, again, like the key, I think, for MustGrow is that we're the technology company. We own the technology, and our objective is to get this technology in as many markets as possible. And that technology pipeline's at various stages. We wake up every day to build a company to make sure that the technology is brought forward, say for fruit and vegetable fumigation, or if it's storage of potatoes. I think it's very interesting for ag chems to look at us and see this technology platform, that we're more than just we have one technology, but can be used in a variety of different markets, and that's really key in that. So whatever is going to create the most value for shareholders is what we'll be doing.
Very good. Thank you, Corey. Ronnie, you've answered the question about Waterway's financial capability, and I had missed that about the warrant exercise, so that's great news. So you have the capital, but could you talk a little bit about the margins of the business, and then also a little bit about, we'll talk about scaling later, so maybe talk about the margins first.
We started off with lower margins, and that's why we had an acquisition strategy to buy distributors, because we were selling to distributors who were selling to farmers. So by actually acquiring and setting up our own distribution, we are increasing our margins, although our marketing costs are getting higher as well. But that will bring us back to profitability, I think, in 2021.
Okay, and then similar to the margins, you're working on technology as well. Is there a higher margin on the technology aspect, on the big data aspect?
Of course, the big data brings much more technology, especially if we start developing SaaS-based measurement systems. Then we can see a much higher profitability for the company.
Okay. And by the way, a note to all three of you: please off your mic when you're not answering a question. Ronnie, last question specific to waterways. Can you talk about scaling and whether that is human resource intensive to scale this business?
I don't think there's a problem with scaling. There are enough. We're now bootstrapped. We have probably something like 22 employees in the whole company for sales of about 13 million. I think that's a good ratio. It shouldn't be hard for us to find skilled personnel in Israel and also in Canada. I really don't think that's an issue. We're not seeing to have 100 employees, but probably in the future, probably like 30 to 50, and grow the business 2 or 3 times than what it is today.
Very good, thank you. Corey, stay with us on your video. It's just the audio feed. Sorry if I misspoke. So the mic. Graeme, a couple of questions for you. Penetrating the equipment business, the farm equipment business, is really tough. Can you talk to us a little more in greater detail about your strategy for penetrating that? You've mentioned Western Canada in particular.
You're on mute.
Your mic is, you're muted.
Sorry about that. The industry's changing rapidly, and so is the process of how you sell product, in our view. We've recently put a news release out for a call to action for dealers and the agronomic industry, for agronomists, because agronomists are really the driver behind this new push for leveraging data communication systems, weather, soil samples, and so forth, to really maximize what the recommendation should be into the ground. So we're approaching it as a bit of a hybrid between the dealers, but also the agronomic side of the business, with a more direct approach to the farmers and not a traditional dealer type model, if you will. One of the big advantages we have is our technology is radically advanced. It's not just a slight modification of an existing process. The ability to micromanage up to 5 products on every row, including singulation or volumetric, really garners the attention of the farming community, because they're looking at this data and they're asking, what is the best way to execute on it? Why am I paying for this information if I can't leverage this asset? So I think it's going to become clear, and it is becoming clear. My chief operating officer is currently on the Agro World Forum, and the response has been incredible. The dealer reach out has been excellent. So we're going to change the model a little bit. We're introducing something that's a radical advancement for farmers, and the customer experience will be different from a traditional dealership model. So we're approaching things not only from a technology perspective differently, but also the way we sell and market our product.
So another challenge can be with large equipment, that when you don't have high density of penetration, which is what happens at the beginning, you've got low density of penetration, that some of your economies of scale for servicing and sales, a range of other things, are a little harder to achieve. Does this mean you're going to focus in certain geographies more in order to enhance the profitability of your penetration early on?
Yes, that's you answered the question for me. That is what we're doing. We're picking the key regions in Alberta and Saskatchewan for the first early adopters, and a couple of strategic parties in the United States just south of the border in the North Dakota region. We are conscious of that, and part of the plan has been very much to centralize these first machines so we can really handhold and look after the customer and evolve from there. But that, you answered the question yourself.
I didn't mean to take from you there, but Graeme.
No, it's good.
So the final question for each of you relates to milestones. What should investors look for next as they're following you, as they put you on their screens? And let's go with Graeme, Ronnie, and Corey.
Thank you. What you should look forward to is a very aggressive public relations, marketing campaign in the agricultural industry, as well as the public sector, for what we're bringing to the market. You can look forward to a lot of testimonials, interviews, and live action of the machines actually seeding this season. You'll see results this season from the crops. You'll also see the sales cycle start, and you may see some interesting out-of-the-box thinking with regards to M&A activity and potential international advancements. Thank you very much for having us.
I think you should follow our results in 2021. You should see what our Q1 results are going to be versus Q1 last year. Same as Q2, Q3, and Q4, and look at where this year is going versus 2020 and versus 2019. I really hope that we'll have a very good year, and I really hope the company will turn into profits, which is substantial for us and for the investors and for our shareholders. And then we're set up to probably grow additionally in 2022. So it's very late here in Israel, but I thank you for hosting us, Mark, and convey Raj that he should be very healthy. And thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So for us with MustGrow, for the next year, you're going to see, again, pushing that product pipeline forward. A lot of the field testing that we're doing, there were blue sky ideas for us last year, testing in bananas, for instance, or canola and clubroot. Again, there's no chemicals that treat those diseases, the clubroot that affects canola or the Fusarium TR4. So we're going to see some results in the field on some very hard to kill diseases out there that there is no chemical solution. And in addition, I think you're going to continue to see us push other areas of the pipeline forward that we haven't tested yet on the storage side. It's going to get very interesting. It's a very exciting area, and look forward to doing that as well.
Very good. Well, thank you to our presenters. Corey Giasson, CEO, MustGrow Biologics, MGRO. Ronnie Jaegermann, Director, Waterways Technologies, WWT, and Graeme Lempriere, CEO, Clean Seed Capital, CSX. May you all have further success in advancing your projects and businesses. And now, forgive me, I was supposed to post your contact information here at the end. So there we are. And to you, our attendees, thank you for your time today and your patience with me as the clunky administrator. I do think we'll have Raj back very soon. Do go to today's company's websites, learn more about them, and check in at TakeStockLive.com, where today's PowerPoint decks should be posted by tomorrow. In the meantime, be determined in your due diligence and ask tough questions. We'll be back next week, 17th of March. Mark and Raj signing out from TakeStockLive.com.